All right. Let's talk some Eagles. We got Ross Tucker with us right now. We got a Game 3 tonight. We also got Eagles. Let me do my math here. Game 6 tomorrow as the 4-1 Birds come in for a Thursday night football game to face the New York Giants tomorrow night. And, of course, the head coach of the 4-1 Eagles is Nick Sirianni. He joins us right now, presented by Bud Light. Join Ava Graham for Thursday night football at the Harleysville Hotel and win tickets to the next Eagles home game and sign merchandise. That is Thursday night, tomorrow night. And the head coach of the Birds, Nick Sirianni. Good morning, Nick.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Boy,
Hi,
Nick,
Coach.
this is one of those rare weeks where you're everything you got going on pales in comparison, at least for 5 million fans, to what the Phillies have going on. I just want to start with that. We're all fired up in a lot of directions. But anyway, all right. Hope you're doing well. We know you took a tough one the other day. Let's talk a little bit about that, and then we'll move forward, Nick. Let's just start with this question. This was the big one that I had, and I think many people had Monday after the Sunday game. Did AJ's tweet and the aftermath centered around that with his what had been growing frustration, did those things affect the game plan to throw the ball more against the Denver Broncos?
No, not at all. Our job is to find ways to win every game. Obviously, we didn't do that. They were definitely some things that we wanted to take advantage of in the pass game. And I believe, for a good portion of the game, for definitely first half, first drive, second half, we were able to do that. So, I felt like we were executing our game plan, but, we didn't finish the game as coaches, as players. And a good team came back on us and got a win. So we're focused constantly on what we can do to get better. It's a marathon of a season. It's a long season. And, our goal is to be playing our best football by the end of the year and get better at the things that we need to get better at to be doing that. But in no case was that the case because, again, we wanted to take advantage of some things. Obviously, we always want to be able to run the ball. That's been a formula for us that has won us a lot of football games and scored us a lot of points in the past. So, that's the way we attacked this game. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we didn't win the game. So, back to the drawing board. But we did what we thought we needed to do to win that game, but always want to get, our best players involved, whether that's AJ, whether that's Devontae, whether it's Jaylen, whether that's Saquon, whether it's Dallas. We always are thinking of that, and that's the way we attack that game. And, at the end of the day, it didn't work.
What do you say to critics who say the offense is too predictable?
Yeah, again, we are going to do everything we can do to make things complicated for the defense, put seeds of doubt in their mind, use our tendencies and opportunities to get, to get explosive plays out of that. I've always been taught good teams have tendencies. And, that doesn't mean you don't work like crazy to fix those. But, the name of the game is to win, and the name of the game is to score points. And I believe, we're obviously, coming off of a loss where we didn't do those things. But in the grand scheme of things, I believe that we have done a good job of scoring points, done a good job of winning games. It's not just this week where they said our offense was predictable. It's been every week or whatever, whenever I answer those questions.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, game for us that didn't go our way. Obviously we're on to the next, there's not going to be a lot of, we play the Giants tomorrow. So this is unusual that I'm talking to you guys,
Sure.
2 days off of a game, but one game into a game, 1 day until a game. I think you guys expect me and fans probably expect me to be on to the next game, which we are, and the coaches are, and the players are. I always look at a loss as a great opportunity. Every game, every time you go out there, it's a great opportunity to get better, and every time you practice. Particularly when you go through adversity, because we have a mentally tough team. We got mentally tough players. We got mentally tough coaches, and you can let that sting for a second, and it does, and it should. and you can drag yourself through the mud for a little bit. But ultimately, you got to get the F up and move on to the next one, and that's where we are right now.
What's this team's offensive identity?
Yeah, identity is something. I think that's like a kind of a term that, when it's not going the way everyone thinks it should at that particular time. I think that that word gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
And that's normal. That's normal. And you're constantly trying to find that. Sometimes, you find your identity in week 2, 3, 4, 5. I think a majority of these teams that continue to get better throughout the year, continually find their identity as the season goes on. We know that we always want to be able to run. We want to be able to, create explosives. We want to protect the football. We want to be efficient in the pass game. I think at the end of the day, that's it. We always want to play with great fundamentals. And at the end of the day, that's the identity that you want, because it can look different every week. And good teams find ways to win every single week, and it really never is exactly the same. Sometimes if you look at the identity of our team last year, looking back to last year, we were a team that ran the ball.
Yeah,
extremely
Saquon was a bigger
well.
part of that identity.
No doubt. But then you look at the Super Bowl and you look at the NFC Championship game, and the identity changed a little bit, right? You change based off, what you do, what you got to do to win the game. So I think that word can get thrown around a little bit, where it's like, what's the goal? To win the game and to do everything you can do to be explosive, to be efficient, to be, to do the things that you want to do. But at the end of the day, our job is to win as many football games as we possibly can. Yeah, we're pissed that we didn't win the last one, but what an opportunity to learn and grow and get better from.
Nick Sirianni with us here on WIP. Of course, we're getting ready for game 3 tonight of the Phil series, but also the Eagles tomorrow. Nick, the Saquon thing. I mean, you've been on the record before. You sort of just alluded to it there. You ran the offense largely last year through Saquon. I'm curious. Do you think he is affected by the heavy workload from last year? It wouldn't be anyone's fault, but do you think his body is affected by that workload?
I don't, because, I've seen how explosive he is, day in, day out, whether that's at practice, whether that's at, in games. I think you see, the same burst, the same juice that, look at the 57-yard touchdown that he runs right by the guy and makes a great move. So, I don't. I think that Saquon has done an unbelievable job of taking care of his body. The trainers, the strength staff have done a great job of that as well. Saquon's not the only one that went through 21 games or whatever, 22 games last year. It was the entire team. And we've had time to rest. We managed the guys the way we need to manage them in the in the week leading up to the game, and then we do what we need to do to win each and every game. And so I see Saquon as the same player as he was last year, and it took some time last year for us to get things rolling on offense as well. And we'll just stick to the process and continue to go through the steps that we go through. I really do believe it's when there's any sort of we're taught. I said this to our guys in basketball. You're taught to when all the things seem so the moment seems high, and when you're shooting a free throw, your job is to focus on your process.
Yep.
And I love the team's process, and I know that we'll continue to get better because of our process, because that's where the process get you ready to play the game. The process gets you ready to, put you in the right mindset to play the game. And we're looking forward to getting back out there tomorrow night.
So on the other side of the football, we're all fans are very excited that Nakobe Dean is getting a chance. But now Jahad Campbell and Nakobe Dean, who's your starter, Coach?
Yeah, obviously you have time to think through that. Obviously wouldn't want to give any of that information away. I respect that question. We know we got a really good room right there. You got Zach Vaughn, who's obviously played at an extremely high level through this past year and into this year. Jihad's played really good football. Nakobe's played really good football, and then you got Jeremiah Trotter, you got Smile Mondin that have been constants in these first 5 weeks on our special team. So really excited about that group. And Howie and his staff have done such a good job of getting guys in here. That's a deep, deep group. And in this league, as you guys know, you need all hands on deck. And so excited about that and having, with the possibility of getting Nakobe back here soon, and we'll see where we go from there.
Nick, in a moment like that where you got to make a decision, where the team needs to make a decision, someone from the hierarchy, do you defer to Vic Fangio to make that call and co-sign it, or do you make the call of which defensive player starts?
Well, obviously, we talk through everything, right? I think everybody wants, who makes the call on this one? You're a team. You're a team. You go through all decisions and all things like that, whether that's, situations in a game, whether that's, players on the field. You talk through all those things. That's what you do. So, of course, you talk to Coach Fangio in that decision. And, of course, you talk to Bobby King in that decision. They're the guys that are with them every single day, in the weeds with them every single day. And we're, and we are as well. So it's always a group decision. That's in everything with football. I mean, it's the ultimate team game, and that's not just on the field. That's in the classroom. That's in the meeting rooms. That's in decision making. Through everything. That's just the way football goes. And so we'll talk through everything, and at the end of the day, we'll make the decision that we think is best for the team. But notice that I said over and over again, we'll make the best decision for the team.
Coach, could you compare and contrast Jaylen Carter's play last year to this year?
Yeah, I think that I think that you'll see him making a bunch of plays, a lot of plays that he made last year that he's making this year, that whether it's a tackle for loss behind the line of scrimmage, whether it's a sack that he created based off of a pressure, or that he created off of a game. They ran a game and a stunt in the game on Sunday against the Broncos where Zadarius comes free, with the attention that Jaylen gets on him. So I think, it's easy to look at, I don't even know, does he have any? It's easy to look and say, oh, he doesn't have a sack, or he does have a sack. And why doesn't he have more? Well, it's a team game. He brings a lot of attention based off how the slide goes. I know Morrow has 2 or 3 sacks, and a lot of that happens when the attention goes to him. But he's been making plays. He's been flying to the football. It's just a matter of time before he gets the ball out, because he's pretty good at coming after the football. He's one of our better players there as far as being able to dislodge the football. And I see all those same things, and just so excited that he's on this football team, and the energy that he brings, and the playmaking ability that he brings, and those things. He's making plays, and sometimes it's not so obvious on the stat sheet, but he's making plays just being out there because of the player he is, the effort he plays with, and the tenacity he plays with.
Nick, final thing here, as you get ready for tomorrow night, and we do appreciate some time from you, the day before the game. I know that's not the easiest thing. I'm curious, when you came here 5 years ago, of course, you brought the phrase dog mentality to Philly, and the way I've always interpreted it is just digging down in the midst of adversity and fighting through and doing whatever you got to do to handle business. Not really, frankly, too much different than Mama mentality. Just handle the business you got to handle. I'm curious, in a situation where relationships can get complicated and a team can struggle at times, I imagine you're very proud that Jaylen, AJ, and Saquon got in a room together this week and said, guys, let's get some stuff out on the table. Let's hash this out. and let's be a better unit as a result of this conversation. Is it fair to say that you're not only happy they did that, but you're proud they did that?
Well, you know, everyone's looking for ways to get better, and when the leaders on your football team are constantly doing that too, you know, that goes to the entire team. Like, what can we do to be better? Like, that's all we focus on, right? Is, you know, how do we be better in tough detail and together? Because we know ultimately if we play tough, we play with detail, we play together, that leads to the good results on the field. And you know, that gives you their best chance to play good. And these guys are hyper focused on how do we continue to get better, and you love that from the leaders on your football team. I think we have a full football team that continues to try to find ways to get better. You know, and I think that we've shown in the past that we find ways to fix. You know, it's not all that different. I don't want to go back too much to last year, but it's like, you know, we were going through things last year, and we found ways to get better, and we found ways to continue to come together as a football team. And you know, sometimes you lean on your past experiences in that, and it's like, man, let's just move on, learn from what we've done, and find ways to get better. And when your captains of your football team are doing that, that always trickles down to the rest of the group. We do that. I say that to the coaches all the time. We better be practicing what we preach, because you know they're looking at us, and I know sure as heck the rest of the team's looking at the leaders on this team. So you know, it's just this growth mindset, you know, and the dog mentality of being able to be in the moment where you are, focusing on the process, because you know that the process produces the results.
Hey, Nick, good luck tomorrow night. We're all hoping you pull it out. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.
There he is, Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni.